Okay, so for this portion, I went ahead and finished getting my full outline of the piece. I went ahead and took some still shots that I'll put together in a PowerPoint for you guys for you to see it. But this is how the piece would look if I were to leave it the rough quality. Now, I have the video in close-up mode because I want to talk about blending. So with blending, there's different routes to go. These are blending stumps, as you guys may have some of them. Q-tips are always a wonderful way too because they just have a small area that you can really get detailed in. Tissues, if you do have those available. Different types of rags, cotton, fabric, whatever. Cotton ball is good too, but cotton ball is good for large areas. To get really refined, I would say stick with more of the smaller mediums or supplies, tools. Okay, so what I'm first gonna do is I went ahead and sharpened this with an X-Acto knife just to kind of clean it up a little bit. If you do have several different blending stumps, I recommend to keep them separate from one another. So for example, if you have one that is for your pastel chalk that's color, even though you can sharpen it and remove the medium, that's fine, but still it's good that it doesn't get onto the other medium. For example, if this had red on it, then red would be able to be pushed into this charcoal. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start blending. And this is just moving the medium around. You can tell that it's starting to already grab on. And this blending stump is basically compressed paper. I've had students before make their own blending stumps by just rolling paper together. They call that a tortillon, and that works well too. Now when I blend, you notice I'm losing all of my values. So I have some lights and darks, but they're all kind of blending into one another. And I wanna go back and use the kneaded eraser to bring those back to life. And then I'm going to add charcoal at the very end to keep the texture, because right now the tooth of the paper is showing through, so it gives a really nice wooden look to this piece. Okay, and as I continue on, what I'm going to do again is be very cautious of the image that I have, and I'm going to go ahead and pull some back out. This is again with my kneaded eraser. And I can clean off the edges too if I need to. You can even use a ruler to really clean off the edges. So for example, I'll put this ruler right in front of my straight edge that I already have created. It will act like a stencil. And then use my eraser to remove those lines. And then it's good not to swipe either with your hand, because it's chances that it might blend too. So using a sweet brush, or again, as I mentioned before, just fold paper together and allow the paper to kind of pull off that medium. Okay, so I'm continuing on. I'm going to go ahead and grab now this pencil eraser and just pull some values back out. And now that is a flat portion. So I'm going to go back and add now medium into this. This is a B. You can use the hard or soft, just experiment with all of them. They're so fun to work with. And think about where your 10 values are located. I know I have really, really nice rich dark values underneath this because it's not being hit by the light. So now I'm creating texture back over what I just blended out. This is starting to get rough at the edges. This is a little shield that actually works well for little shapes, but in this case, I'm just going to use it at the very edge to kind of create a sharper line. Anything that you have that has a little bit of thickness to it can act as a nice clean line, and look how nice that line got right here on this side. And if I need to blend, now compressed blending stumps, they're gonna move the medium very rapidly and make it very compressed, like it's pushing in the tooth of the paper. when I use a Q-tip, you could tell a Q-tip has a little cotton at the edges, so it's a little loose in its fibers. So it's not going to dig into the surface of the paper unless if I, of course, press and put pressure on. But if I'm just very light with it, again, holding it delicately like I do with the pencil, then I can kind of soften it a little bit, but it doesn't move as frequently as the others. This is the corner portion of my leg in the stool. I'll continue on. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. Remember, I'm here for you guys. Please email me. You could even Zoom with me. Just getting a larger portion in. Okay. This is very similar to the cloud piece that we did, where you're blending the medium, right, and then you're removing it again with the kneaded eraser, and then you're adding it back again. So very similar relationship. This has a light side on this portion. That's why I'm getting it so light. Once all of this is said and done, say you're fully satisfied with the way that it's coming out, once it is in that completion mode, what you could do, instead of adding graphite, because graphite has a silvery sheen, you don't want to put graphite back onto this for sharp lines. If anything, if you have an ebony, that could work. Also think about your colored pencil. We're going to get into color theory pretty soon. This is just a black colored pencil. This is a Prismacolor, but whatever black you have. Black colored pencil works really well with charcoal because they're both really dark in their values. So say I just want to have a nice, really tight line, I can go ahead and just use this to kind of bring that sharpness to it. And that will stay because, as you know, charcoal can blend and move itself. So it just creates a nice thick outer line if I need to kind of have that control again. It's almost like a graphite pencil in a way, but a little bit more waxier, of course. Okay, all right, so I will continue to work on this piece and show you guys once it is finished. Thank you.